to macroeconomic objective as well, unemployment. So we're going to talk about the meaning of unemployment. So unemployment in the most general sense refers to idle or underutilization of resources, but for the labor market, unemployment can be defined as people of working age who are actively seeking jobs but not employed. So unemployment versus underemployment is important to understand, since unemployment is where people actively seeking jobs don't have one, while unemployment is where people do have the jobs but they're being underutilized. They can be due to factors like not work jobs that prior affect their skills and education, like being like a waitress or something like that, where they actually aren't using their degrees, or part-time jobs instead of full-time jobs, since they're not getting a full amount of employment. So when calculating unemployment, the unemployment rate can be calculated by doing the number of unemployed divided by the labor force times 100 to create a percentage. And the labor force is defined as the number of people who are employed in addition to the number of people of working age who aren't employed. So this doesn't include children, elderly, adults, or disabled, since they aren't really in the can't really be employed right now. So there's things that affect and make disadvantages calculating unemployment, such as hidden unemployment, and this is caused by things such as people being discouraged by the economy to the extent they stop searching for jobs, and so they aren't calculating the labor force. No distinction between part and full-time jobs, which is like shown by this clock here, and then doesn't include people in training programs who have just lost their jobs. There's also the underground economy, so it's a portion of the economy reported to the government. It's also called the black market in the United States, and that includes things such as drug dealing or arms sales, or illegal arms sales actually. And then it could also include things even as like babysitting, which is like not reported to the government. So people who are babysitters might seem unemployed, but they actually are. So also one more thing is that countries consider as one general population. So national unemployment doesn't separate population groups. This can be due to things such as region, gender, ethnic groups, age, and state of education. And this can affect unemployment in different areas, since region can have different areas of industrialization. Women can be more harder to find jobs than men. Ethnic groups can have discrimination in the workplace. Age, extent of education can some people might not want to hire younger people or people with lesser education.
Next, we're going to discuss the possible economic consequences of unemployment. One possible consequence is a loss of real output or real GDP. Since there are more people in the world than jobs available, the amount of output is lower than what the economy is capable of producing. Another consequence is a loss of income for unemployed workers. Unemployed people stop receiving an income and unemployment benefits, which makes them worse off financially. Also, there's a loss of tax revenue for the government. Unemployment people don't get an income, which means they don't pay income tax, and this results in a loss for the government. There are also costs to the government of unemployment benefits. The more unemployed, the more unemployment benefits needed, which results in less money for the government to spend on important public goods and services, for example. There's also costs to the government of dealing with social problems resulting from unemployment, since government funds need to cover social problems that arise from unemployment benefits. There's also more unequal distribution of income. Unemployed people get more poor while employed people maintain their income. And certain population groups may be hit harder than others based on whether they were more disadvantaged to begin with. Also, unemployed people may have difficulties finding work in the future, since people who are unemployed for long periods of time may lose their skills, or newer skills may be required for the job that they had once had, or firms have been able to manage with fewer workers. And this is also called hysteresis, which means lagging behind something, in this case lagging behind employment. Hysteresis suggests that high employment rates in the present will continue to high rates in the future, even when economic rates become more favorable. Next, we're going to discuss the possible personal and social consequences of unemployment. Some personal problems involve loss of income, increased debt, and a loss of self-esteem. And these factors lead to psychological stress, sometimes lower levels of health, family tensions, family breakdown, and even suicide. Some greater social problems are high rates of unemployment, especially if they're unequally distributed, which can lead to increased crime and violence, drug use, and homelessness.
There are 4 different types of unemployment. One is structural unemployment, which occurs as a result in change of demand for different labor skills, different location of industries, or market rigidities. The next is seasonal unemployment, which occurs with when the demand for labor changes based on the time of year. frictional unemployment, which is when people are in between jobs after getting fired, laid off, or quit, and cyclical unemployment, which occurs during the downturns of the business cycle.
Structural unemployment could be the result of new technologies that require workers with greater knowledge on the new technology. Therefore, the old workers could be out of work due to a lack of necessary skills. Also, a change in the structure of the economy as some industries drop while others rise could result in the loss of work for workers with jobs in declining industries. They don't have the skills required to enter the rising industry, which gives them structural unemployment. Similarly, changes in geographical locations mean that there's a decrease in demand for labor in one area and an increase for labor in a new area that a company moves to. And if people are unable to relocate themselves and their families to these strong economic locations, they could become structurally unemployed. Second, frictional unemployment occurs when workers are in between jobs, and this can be caused in a few ways, including workers who were fired from their former job and are looking for a new job, or workers who left their former job to search for a better job. So unlike structural unemployment, frictional is not a result of lack of skills and is therefore not as serious because the new job can be obtained more easily. Next, seasonal unemployment is caused by a simple change in seasons. Skill level has nothing to do with it, but rather the demand for a certain good or service at the time. All three of these types of unemployment occur when the economy is producing at or above the potential output. However, the last form of unemployment, cyclical unemployment, occurs when an economy is producing below potential output. Cyclical unemployment occurs when an economy falls, aggregate demand falls, and this forces employers to lay off some workers. But when real GDP increases, again, back to a level of potential output, cyclical unemployment decreases and eventually disappears.
Cyclical unemployment is caused by a fall in aggregate demand. This is because as aggregate demand falls, the overall price levels in the economy fall. This overall drop in price levels causes for a drop in profits for businesses, as seen in the graph on the right. This drop in business profit stops allowing businesses to pay their workers, and this causes for an increase in unemployment. Structural unemployment can be caused by changes in demand in the labor force. So, for example, if a business wants more higher technology jobs, but the population does not have the education to work these jobs, then unemployment will rise as the demand for the old types of jobs that the population holds the skills for decreases, and the demand for new jobs that the people in the population do not hold increases, causing for a rise in unemployment. Several government policies can be undertaken to deal with different types of unemployment. To deal with structural unemployment, the government can invest in education spending and easy work programs so that the population can be better trained to work in new, more higher tech jobs. To deal with frictional unemployment, the government can provide unemployment benefits that will create a holdover sort of effect for people that do not have a job and are looking for a job. This causes for less of a decrease in quality of life for the people that are only experiencing a short-term unemployment. In order to fix seasonal unemployment, the government can help to provide jobs for either summer or winter workers in the opposite season. For example, people working at the beach during the summer would also be able to work at ski resorts in the winter. And structural or cyclical unemployment can be either fixed through letting the business cycle right itself or through either monetary policy, fiscal policy, or supply side policy. Through these policies, the government can affect the aggregate demand. Sorry, not supply side policy, just fiscal and monetary policy. Through these policies, government can affect the aggregate demand and help to increase aggregate demand back up to potential output, which allows businesses to regain their profits and rehire workers. They could also let the business cycle ride itself out, which would, by most economic measures, the business cycle would reassert itself and the economy would reach potential output again.